Hello, this is the Flashback Friday video for question 1 from October week 1. We're given a polynomial here, and the polynomial is y equals x cubed minus 3x squared minus 9x plus k. So we don't know what k is, but I think we have to find it out in part 1 here. The other piece of information you're given which is useful is that it has a minimum point on the x-axis. So we know for sure that that point there will be a minimum point. So we know dy by dx will equal 0 here. So in order to do part 1, we're going to need to differentiate and put it equal to 0. So dy by dx, if we differentiate this equation, we'll get 3x squared minus 6x minus 9, and then put that equal to 0. 3x squared minus 6x minus 9. Now we could divide by 3, we could then factorize, but I would just use the equation solver on your calculator, and when you do that you're going to get x equals 3 or x equals minus 1. And so this point here must be x equals 3. The minimum point must be x equals 3, and the maximum point must be at minus 1. So this maximum point up here must be where x is minus 1. So just put that on the graph there. So the answer to the first question, find the value of k, well, we've still not done that, but we do know that this point here is on the x-axis. In other words, when x equals 3, we know y will equal 0. So if we substitute that into the original equation, so put these two values into here, and that will give us 0 equals 3 cubed, I'll put this in bracket, 3 cubed minus 3 times 3 squared minus 9 times 3 plus k. It's important to put in a bracket if you're going to do it on your calculator. Well, it's more important if you've got substituting negative numbers in. So I just put a bracket around it usually anyway. So let's work this out. 27, you could type this into calculator like I said, minus 27, and then minus another 27 plus k. So these are going to cancel out here, and then k will equal 27. So that's going to be the answer to part 1 for this question. For part 2, we've got to find the coordinates of the maximum point of the curve. We already know the x value is minus 1 from the previous part of the question, so we've just got to find the y value to get the coordinates for that maximum point up there. So when x equals minus 1, y will equal minus 1 cubed minus 3 times minus 1 squared minus 9 times minus 1 plus, and we know k is 27 now. As I said before, it's important to put the, if you're just going to type all this into your calculator, make sure you use brackets around the minus 1, or just work it out separately. So that will be minus 1, this will be plus 1 times minus 3, so minus 3, this will be plus 9 plus 27, and what's that going to give us then? That's going to give us 32. So the coordinates for the maximum point are minus 1, 32. Now part 3, we've got to find the set of real values for which the graph is decreasing. The graph will be decreasing wherever the gradient is negative. So we have to look on our graph where does our graph slope downwards? Well, the graph is sloping downwards between these two stationary points that we've just found. So whenever x is between -1 and 3, that means the graph is decreasing. Sometimes you will see in the textbook it has equal to as well for these kind of questions, and the mark scheme says you're allowed both. I just checked the mark scheme there, but I would just leave it as this. The first answer in the mark scheme looks like this, and I think I would leave it like that, because if the gradient is equal to 0, then that's, I would say that was a stationary point rather than either increasing or decreasing. And part 4, we're going to need to integrate between 0 and 3 to find the area of the shaded region. So let's just do that integration. So for part 4, we're going to integrate between 0 and 3, x cubed minus 3x squared minus 9x plus 27. And we need to integrate all that. Now it's important you show all you're working out here. It's important you show what you get when you integrate. Okay, you can just type all this into a calculator and it should give you the answer straight away. But I mean, you can see that there's 4 marks for it, and you need to make sure you write down what you get once you've integrated. So once we have integrated, we'll get x to the power 4 over 4 minus x cubed minus 9 over 2x squared, and then plus 27x, and we still need to sub in our limits 3 and 0. And so if we put in those values, we'll get 3 to the power 4 over 4 minus 3 cubed minus 9 over 2 3 squared plus 27 times 3. And when we put 0 in, all these terms have x's in, so we're just going to get 0 out. So you could type all this into your calculator here, or work it out. So we're going to get 3 to the power 4, 81 over 4 minus 27. That's going to be 9 times 9 over 2, so that's 81 over 2, and then plus 81. And I think I would probably just, well, if you haven't already just typed it all into calculator, I probably would now, and see what you get. You should get 135 over 4, or what's as a decimal, it's 33.75, but I would just leave it as 135 over 4. That will be fine.